wins more games next year, the Broncos or the Browns?
Ooh. Deshaun Watson led the NFL in passing yards in 2020, and the Texans went 4-12.
And that's the thing. I mean, that team was dog doo-doo. Like, the offensive line was absolutely terrible. So this is going to be a different football team for sure. But you taking Russ, you taking Deshaun, you taking Nathaniel Hackett, you taking Kevin Stefanski?
I am going to take the Browns to have more wins.
I'll take the Browns to have more wins too. I think it's an easier division. No offense, Mitchell Trubisky. Although the wild card in that is Deshaun could still be suspended.
Well, and the other wild card is part of the schedule is that the AFC North gets to play the NFC South. So Deshaun gets to play.
Deshaun gets to kill all the
teams that he passed. He gets to face the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers. We mentioned that he gets to play the Texans. Their 17th opponent out of the NFC is Washington. So they just have a much easier. I mean, obviously things change and fluctuate in the NFL from year to year, but as things look on paper right now, their schedule is much easier than Denver's.
Okay, 10.5 wins for both teams. What are you taking?
Don't do this to me.
I would probably take under on both of those.
I said it. I had like 9.5 better, but I knew you guys would yell and scream. So 10.5.
9.5. I'd go over one of them, and then Deshaun, I would have to wait and see the suspension stuff.
I think 10.5 under. I think that's the right play as we sit here. Yeah. Breech, you going to go over on both? Because both teams trade for Gardner Minshew?
I'm going to go under on the Broncos. I think they end up with 10 exactly.
Wow.
And I think the Browns, I'm going to go over.
Well, you need to, so what do we got here? NFC North division odds. Plus 180, Cleveland suddenly is on top. I think Baltimore was on top a couple hours ago, followed by Cincinnati, and then I think Cleveland was third. Or maybe the Bengals, doesn't matter.
Browns are the favorite.
Steelers plus 1,000 is hugely disrespectful, but whatever. Whatever.
Yeah. If you see, I wouldn't bet the Browns.
No, absolutely not. I'm not following.
I love the Ravens and Bengals odds now. I mean, that if anything, if you were already on the Ravens or Bengals bandwagon, then the Browns just did you a favor.
Yeah, that's right. Put a little money in your pocket, as the Keem likes to say.
I mean, the NFL is the idea that Deshaun is playing every single team that it was involved in this entire trade process.
Well,
is
theoretically
outrageous.
He might be holding a clipboard.
Right. Unless he or not at the office because he's not allowed to be there. The other thing about this deal too, from the Browns' perspective, is with that if that suspension comes into play and it's 6 games, and I really don't think I would be surprised if it's more than 6 games. Like I just because of the what the precedent that we've seen from the NFL.
But here's what I will push back on. Yes, he was not indicted by a grand jury. Yes, the civil allegations are still hanging over him. But lots changed since the last time we had one of these sexual assault / domestic violence / off-field incidents involving women's type situation with an NFL player. In fact, who was the last NFL player that was
Zeke Elliott?
And that was what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago. Yeah, I mean, I would say a
lot's changed in 3 years in terms of
the climate.
So it may be more to send a message, but we'll see. You never know with Goodell and the folks making these decisions.
Yeah, that you definitely do not ever know. With that. By the way, I would point out that actually let's do. I had something more to point out and then I forgot it.
Right.
Let's